Where's Dennis? Still talking? Because I have instructions to have him or Paul say the pledge, and neither one of them is here. She calls you once in a while? Okay, we'll let Rob do it. Okay, welcome everybody to the Town of Orangetown Town Board meeting of March 8th, 2022. And on a roll call.
Councilman Tom Divany.
Here.
Councilman Paul Valentine. Councilman Jerry Vitari.
Here.
Councilman Brian Donahue.
Here.
Supervisor Teresa Kenny.
Here. So we're going to have, first we're going to have Town Attorney Rob Magrino lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so we have a couple of announcements. You may have noticed coming in that we are collecting donations for the people of Ukraine. This was done through Oksana Hauser. They have a business in town. So they have all the towns are collecting, and they're going to be sending it over to Poland, I believe, and from there to those in need. Original deadline was tomorrow. It's been extended. They're going to go through Monday. So for those, we got a couple requests to put it off. We're going to push it through March 14th. The next town board meeting on March 22nd, there's going to be a presentation. They're calling it the Gatto Lane. It's for a zone change. They had been here some time ago. They went to the planning board, and now they're coming back to kind of respond to some of the things. You all should have got a letter from their engineer. So they're going to make a presentation to the town board at 7 o'clock on March 22nd. I think we all know the Rockland County St. Patrick's Day Parade is on this year. So it's Sunday, March 20th, 2022. It starts at 1:30 p.m. It starts at the Pfizer/IRG property, and it is on rain or shine. So get out your green. The 2022 Military Tribute Banner Program is open. So there's a deadline to order. Will be April 15th. You've probably seen them around town. They've become quite popular. So if you're interested, please get your order in by April 15th. That's it on the announcements. Next, we have a presentation. We have a plaque here for Mr. Robert Dell. I have Mr. Dell's, because of the details of all the years of service he's done it for the town of Orangetown. So he was a member of the Orangetown Architecture Community Appearance Board of Review, ACABOR, from 1979 to 2001 as a member. And he was the vice chairman from 1988 to 2001. Then he became a member of the planning board. He started in 2001, and he was the chairman from 2007 to 2009. So Bob has done a lot for the town of Orangetown. We wanted to acknowledge all the great things that he's done. It seems like a plaque is really not enough to give him for his years of service, but it's the best that we can do. So I don't know, Bob, if you want to come on up, we say a few words, and then we'll present you with the plaque.
Thank you. It's been an honor and a privilege to serve the Orangetown community for the past 40 years. When I started, land was about 30,000 an acre, and houses were about 120,000 apiece. I think I've done the best I could to preserve the environment and protect the community, and hopefully I made a positive contribution to it. And I want to thank everybody and the town board for the many years they supported me, and hopefully sometime I may be called back again for future community service. But it has been a pleasure, and thank you very much.
Myself and the town board, I want to thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Bruce Bond was also supposed to get an award tonight, his presentation, but he has a school board meeting, so we're going to catch him hopefully at a later time so that we can do the same.
Back on the board.
Yeah. We have, is Nadine here? Oh, there she is. Okay, so we have a couple other, this is for Irish Cultural Heritage Month. We have a couple of honorees. I don't know if you were lucky enough to be at the Emerald Ball. You already got to see Nadine dressed up, looking gorgeous and giving an incredible speech. But for tonight, she still looks gorgeous, but not quite as we looked that night. Not as glamorous as we looked night that. So you want to come up, Nadine? We have a certificate for you. And I don't want to embarrass you, but I'm going to read it, a little bit of it, okay? So whereas individuals of Irish descent have played an invaluable role in the history of the U.S., New York State, and town of Orangetown, making contributions as writers, as business owners, artists, soldiers, musicians, athletes, educators, actors, politicians, doctors, scientists, lawyers, and every other profession. And whereas Irish Americans were among the early settlers of Orangetown, bringing their skills as carpenters and farmers, and many immigrants from Ireland continue to arrive in Orangetown and make their home in every hamlet in the town. And whereas Irish Americans have contributed to the economic growth of Orangetown and continue to improve its economy by owning restaurants, construction firms, shops, law firms, and other businesses, serving as teachers, clergy, business owners, police officers, and in other capacities. And whereas Irish American organizations such as the Gaelic Athletic Association, the Irish Cultural Society, and the Ancient Order of Hibernians have greatly contributed to the cultural life in Orangetown and Rockland. And whereas Irish Americans have influenced and served the town of Orangetown government as town supervisors, town board members, town employees, land use board members, and committee volunteers. And whereas the Rockland County Fest has since 2013 been held in the town of Orangetown, attracting thousands of visitors from throughout the metro area. And whereas the Rockland County St. Patrick's Day Parade, the second largest such parade in New York State, has been held in Provo since 1974 to honor and celebrate Irish heritage and culture. Now, therefore, be resolved, the town declares March 2021 to be the Irish Cultural Heritage Month in the town of Orangetown. And we're recognizing Nadine. Nadine, you're going to have to say the second name there. Foyne, okay, you're as the Hibernian of the Year.
Anyone else show up or not?
I've waited 2 years to march on that avenue. I'm marching, come hell or high water. Okay, yeah, I don't think they could come. So we also had a certificate for Peter and Kwan Bellhouse from Kwan Thai Restaurant. They were the Hibernian Business People of the Year. They too were at the Emerald Ball, but they could not make it tonight, so we're gonna have to give this to them at another time. Just real quick, some other honorees who are not here, but Deirdre Smith Withers is the parade commander. Frank McDonough is the Rockland County St. Patrick's Day Parade Grand Marshal. I think we did honor him 2 years ago before the parade got canceled. And Lillian Murphy, aide to the Grand Marshal in New York City.
Yep.
Okay. So, the only other thing I want to just show, I want to brag, give me a second here, is that Orangetown made the front page of the 10964, the Palisades newsletter, about our food scrapping. So, probably took us a long time to make the front cover, but we made it, so. Just a little bragging, sorry. Okay. Okay, so I guess we can go into workshop. Okay, the first is the public hearing to amend Chapter 31C. This is to authorize electric vehicle charging display kiosks and gas station pump display monitors. I know you probably got a bunch of emails. I know Rob Agrino sent it, Rick Ricola sent us a couple.
Yeah, Rick
So-
will be here.
Okay, yeah, no, I read it pretty closely, and I read the emails, okay. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow, we're gonna fly through this the way we're going, okay. Okay, so to 7, reappointing Charles Rossetti, chairman of the Orangetown Sanitation Commission. Reappoint Bill Beckman as a member of the Orangetown Sanitation Commission. Reappoint Irene McCarthy to the member of the Orangetown Board of Assessment Review for a 5-year term. Number 10, reappoint Mike Mandel, member of the Orangetown Board of Ethics. Number 11, reappoint Mike Mandel, chairman of the Orangetown Board of Ethics. Number 12, reappoint Thomas Highland as a member of the Orangetown Board of Ethics. Number 13, reappoint Beth Cahill as a member of the Orangetown Board of Ethics. Rob, did you check those terms? Are we good? Do we? As best we could. Did we ever? We adjusted them, okay. Yeah, sometimes they always get all screwed up there, okay.
Yeah, they used to be crazy.
It's supposed to be a different.
Staggered, and every once in a while they
Yeah,
do
yeah, yeah.
some.
They were all the same, so trying to catch up and stagger them.
Number 14, reappoint members to the Orangetown Shade Tree Commission for a one-year term. Number 15, it's authorizing the purchase of the Village of South Nyack equipment. This is related to the dissolution and taking over their duties. Number 16, approve a proposal from Nelson and Pope Engineering. This is to do with the drainage system for the water supply splash pad at Veterans Memorial Park. We had got 3 quotes and worked with Eamon on this, and this was the best one. 17, authorized retainer agreement with Keenan Bean. This is for basically general legal services on an as-needed basis. Number 18, authorized retainer agreement with Keenan Bean. This is related to a lawsuit against the town of Orangetown. It's the Rockland Cider Works versus the town of Orangetown. So we're hiring outside counsel to handle that one. Number 19, approve certificate of sewer registrations. Number 20, accept assignment assumption of contract, South Nyack Community Choice Aggregation Program. This is just basically the rollover from South Nyack of some of their contracts that they're in.
Right, it expires in October, I
Right,
believe.
when ours
but it's-
expires, and then they'll be, right.
Right, we'll
Yeah.
combine them when it's all done.
Expires, right. Number 21 is appoint Max Park, temporary police officer, resident town of Orangetown. Number 22, approve grant permission for highway school for Jim Dean, Stefan Muno, Anthony Lamandri, and Carl Bond from June 6th to the 8th, at an approximate cost of $1,700. 23, approve the 2022 Highway Department open house on Saturday, May 14th at 2022. It's from 10 to 12. And if you've never been to it, it's a lot of fun. I finally got a chance to get down there, and it was a lot of fun. So if you're looking for something to do on May 14th, come on down and visit and climb on trucks and things like that. Number 24, approve lend assistance to the American Cancer Society Relay for Life on June 11th. Number 25, approve lend assistance to the commemoration of the 80th anniversary of the Bataan Death March on Saturday, April 9th. Number 26, approve lend assistance to the 2022 St. Patrick's Day Parade, Sunday, March 20th. And number 27, award a bid for the HVAC service to Joe Lombardi Plumbing and Heating. And then we just have some accept and file. So, okay. It's nice to see all these fun things coming back. Okay, so can I get a motion to open the public comment?
Motion to open the public comment?
Second? Jerry, all in favor? Okay. So I only have Eileen Larkin signed up for the public portion?
Members of the board, it saddens me to have to read this out, but I will. On Monday, February 28th, you held a special town board meeting via Zoom to approve, I believe, a $22 million bond to build a new town hall. I'm at a loss as to why you did not hold a public meeting to approve this bond in light of the COVID restrictions being reduced. The original bond was around $18 million. As a resident and taxpayer of Orangetown for 51 years, I am getting a sense that we have a shadow government here in Orangetown. You can look up the definition of shadow government. Why? We are being asked to pay for something we have had no input. I do not want to hear that our appointed town attorney advised, with all due respect to you, Mr. Magrino, I do like you, advised the bid that it was time sensitive. When you, the town board members, were elected, you promised a transparent government. Tonight, I would like you to tell me the following, tell me and the TV audience the following. Why did the bid go to from 18 to 22 mil? Who won the bid? When will work start? What is the tax impact to a taxpayer here in Orangetown? The terms of the bond. Number 6, will local business people be able to bid on jobs? Will the residents of South Nyack be taxed for the new town hall? And do they even know about it? Even tonight's agenda does not give any indication that this bond was voted on. I remember when we used to have 4 town board meetings, two workshops and 2 regular town board meetings. Now we're down to 2 meetings a month, which includes a workshop and a regular town board meeting. We are constantly, little by little, being pushed out of input. And I am, for one, am dismayed and upset about this. No wonder very few people show up anymore, except if it's an item that pertains to them. Zoom meetings are no longer necessary. We deserve to have a voice on all issues, accepting our tax base and the future of Orangetown. Tonight, the Orangetown school system is voting on, I think, a $25 million bond. I believe the bond for the town hall was passed. I think, with the exception of Tom, who did call me back, thank you, Tom, and said he was not in favor of it. I don't know how the bond went, but I certainly would like answers to every question I raised here tonight. Thank you.
Is there anybody else that would like to speak in the pub?
Good evening, Supervisor Kenny, members of the town board. For the record, Michael Mandel, resident of Pearl River. Not to echo Eileen's stellar argument about what she felt about the whole thing. I think it should have been at a regular town board meeting so that questions could be asked during the public portion. Just to clarify it, I know we need a town hall. This one's falling down. However, I think it would have been nice if it was voted at a public hearing and people had, a little bit more answers on it rather than the Zoom. Thank you.
Is there anybody else that would like to speak on the public, just the public portion? Nope. Okay, motion to close? Second. All in favor? Aye. This is what I'm going to say about the town hall project. It started under Supervisor Andy Stewart, okay? Then it went to Chris Day. When I got in office, they had spent probably $1 million, if not more, on the project. Those plans for the town hall have been out there since last year. People walking in, voting, have commented on them, they've seen them. This town board voted to go out to bid. The bid opening was public. Nothing of this was done secretive. Town attorney came, there's a process, a legal process, and it came and they said, we need to give the 30 days, we need and we need the contractors that put in the bids to honor their bid, and after a certain number of days, they can withdraw it. We did what we had to do. Nobody here wants to spend tax money. I'm the last one that wanted to come in here and say I want to spend $22 million on. But I've also been in this building, which is falling to the ground, which is not fair to the people that work in this building. I came out the day with the ice. There was 5 buckets in that foyer, and I have it on my phone to prove it. 5 there, 1 in here, and 1 by the vending machine. One day that roof's going to fall in. We're going to be responsible for paying for a roof over a building that's falling apart. I keep saying, if you don't want a new town hall, fine. Tell me what we're doing, because staying here is not an option. It's not fair to the people in here. God knows what we're breathing. In the winter, it's cold. And I mean, it's just, it's exceeded its useful life. So I give credit to the previous town boards for taking it, because you get in here and it's hard to say I'm going to do a new town hall, but I give credit to Andy and to Chris for doing what needed to be done, and I'm not going to let it just go to waste. So I stand firm behind what we did.
How you did it?
How we did it, because we had legal ramifications, and there's 30 days to challenge it. That's why we did it. There's a 30-day referendum window, so people can challenge it. Again, I didn't like the call anymore when I got a call and said we have to have a special town board meeting. It's the last thing I wanted to do. But if we let the bids expire and we lost it, we'd be back at square one and throwing more good money after bad. So I'm fine with the decision we made. Yeah, I mean, we all would like things to be ideal, but it doesn't, I'm not, okay, we're not going to get into that, okay. Okay, so I am going to move to, anybody else want to say anything? Okay. So we'll go to, you want to ask a question? Go ahead. absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Eileen, I can address some of your questions. I mean,
That's okay, don't worry, it's too late.
well, for the
I'm not
public,
against the new town
for
board.
the public.
And can I just say, it's not too late, because when we go out, if the numbers come back too high, this board's not bound to it. We haven't awarded the bid yet.
That could have been done at a public town board
The
meeting.
reason it couldn't be done in public town board meeting.
Well, it wasn't a public town board meeting, it was just a virtual one.
Zoom meeting.
That's a town board
No
meeting.
information about it. How did
Okay,
you
so we had to do the bid, listen, had to do the bid, and then the bid is guaranteed for 60 days. We had to interview all of the 4 contractors, there's a prime, and then there's HVAC, there's an electrical, and there's plumbing contractors, all separate primes. We had to interview each of them and ensure that they were qualified, and we had to take the lowest bidder. Then we had to have a bond resolution prepared by bond counsel. Once that bond resolution goes out, it has permissive referendum for 30 days where it can be challenged. So in order to meet the timeline to keep these bids, which we got, which were actually very favorable and attractive, we had to do the special town board meeting at that time to ensure the timeline that we didn't lose those bids and have to go out to rebid completely again. So the 18 million, I'm not sure where you got that from. When the lowest bidders, now one bidder dropped out the first day, he was the low bidder for the GC. He dropped out and he really probably wasn't qualified based on our background check. So the second bidder on the GC became. So the town project itself was $20.6 million. That's the low bid across all 4 primes. Now the demolition of this building we're in is expected to be $1.5 million. And then we need a construction manager to oversee it. So that is how you get to the $22.5 million for the new town hall. I don't remember all the rest of your questions, but that's the gist of it, and that's why we had to do the timing in the special town board meeting in order to make sure that this happens. Otherwise, we would be starting all over again with the bid process. And given the inflation we've already seen, we got pushback. Some of these contractors are like, well, what happens if everything's related to oil if it continues to go up? Well, we have them locked in at the best price. Interest rates are still low, so it's the best time to get this done. And so it's not ideal. We would have loved to have a public meeting. It was public, but it was virtual. But in order to save the taxpayers money, because if we didn't do what we did, it would have been higher.
What's the tax impact to the residents?
It's about 1.8% on that alone.
Oh, about 2%.
Just to follow up, why did they have it virtual? Why did we have it in person? I mean, I voted no, so why didn't we have the meeting in person?
Some people feel virtual is more open because if people are working or they can jump on their phone, it was open. If people had anything they wished to say, they could have said it. I represent other municipalities. They feel virtual opens it up more. More people can attend, more people can see, more people can participate. So that's going, March 15th, that you can't have virtual anymore. That's why it was virtual, really, frankly, for convenience. It was noticed. I know the supervisor sent something out in the Friday before. Yes, it was rushed, but it was a public meeting, and anybody from anywhere in the town, or frankly, anywhere in the world, could have commented if they wished.
But if they're at work, they shouldn't be on virtual. Please do me one favor, preserve that map when you redo this. This map is phenomenal. I look at this every time I come to a meeting, and I hope they cut around the sheet rock and frame it and preserve it, because it is a magnificent map of the old world.
The map and the clock are both coming with us when we go. The rest of it can go. Okay, you think that? Okay. Okay, and can I get a motion to, did we close the public portion? We did, okay. Can I get a motion to open the public hearing on the proposed amendment to the town code amending chapter 31C to authorize electric vehicle charging display kiosk and gas station pump display in the certain zones? Motion? Jerry Batari moved. Brian Donahue second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, I think we have Chris Dunnigan? What?
Then there's someone here to present, if they, after the presentation,
Okay, would you mind waiting, Chris? We have one of the attorneys here, and I guess, yeah, come on up. You're gonna make a present. Sorry about that. Just if you wouldn't mind, just saying your names and for the record, thank you.
Good evening Supervisor Kenny, members of the town board. I'm Kristen Motel, an attorney with the law firm Cuddy and Fader on behalf of Volta Charging, and Sam Lee with Volta Charging is here tonight. And we're happy to also answer any questions. We do want to speak in favor of these proposed amendments. Volta is an American-owned EV infrastructure company with the most utilized EV charging network in the United States. The stations provide universal charging to all different types of electric vehicles at no cost or subsidized cost to the users. And in order to do that, the EV stations have electronic displays with advertising to defray the cost of charging. The advertising allows Volta to offer this free charging as an amenity to large retailers like Stop and Shop, which is where Volta would ultimately seek to install 2 EV charging kiosks. And I'll just explain a little bit, a high-level overview, and then, like I said, we'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have about the units themselves. They are silent, and they do show static images, so there's no video, there's no movement or animation. And the amendments that we've seen, they're also consistent with other amendments that various municipalities have adopted in terms of the way that they narrowly tailor the factors. So they include a definition in part. I know there's also gas station displays proposed in this amendment, but the portions that are relevant to EV include a definition. They include some carve-out provisions that are very, very narrowly tailored, and some specific limiting factors such as zoning districts, height, setbacks, visibility requirements, and auto refresh rates, auto dimming, and screen size limitations. And Sam, do you want to say anything else about the screens before we?
No, that's pretty much it. Any questions?
Okay, so you know, Volta's model is very unique, but they do offer the free charging to Stop and Shop customers. So it's convenience. The whole idea is you're going to Stop and Shop anyway. People have to go to the grocery store. They can get a charge while they're there. And so that's what makes Volta very unique. This is also something that will further the green infrastructure, zero emissions transportation infrastructure that's going to be rolled out at a rapid rate across the country. And it furthers state initiatives, local sustainability initiatives, and decreases our dependence on foreign forms of energy. So Volta is supportive of the amendments, and we did provide a package. I'm not sure if the town board members have received it, but it included some photos of kiosks that are operational. For example, in Dobbs Ferry, there's some that's probably the closest to here. And also just a summary about Volta, a little bit about how the kiosks work, advertising partners for 2022, which pretty much include Stop and Shop and electric vehicle companies and some other retail partners. Yeah.
Yeah, I looked at the package. Just a question for you. Volta obviously is just one of probably a bunch of companies that do this, right? There's,
Well, EV charging, yes.
Yeah.
But we are the only EV charging company that offers free charging with subsidized
Okay.
charging with advertising
And
For now.
universal charging
and
as well.
universal charging.
I mean, as far as the Stop and Shop, they did give me some kind of just like little drawing, but it's very hard to see. Where on the site are they planning on putting them?
So they would be placed in 2 existing parking stalls closest to the building entrance.
Okay.
So the idea is that they're further away from, they're as far away from the property lines as you can get them.
Right.
They're not intended for off-site visibility. They're not intended to be seen by motorists who are driving by. They're just capturing that pedestrian traffic in and out of the Stop and Shop. So replacing 2 existing parking stations with 2 EV spots like you would have at a Starbucks, replacing 2 mobile order parking
Totally-
stations.
Totally just, I know you said they're for people going to Stop and Shop, but if someone was to pull up there and start charging, right, you don't need to actually have something to show you in Stop and Shop, do you?
Correct, yes. You can show up and charge.
You could just show up and charge, okay. I mean, I was curious.
Now, Rob, Rick Picola worked
He's here,
on this?
he's here.
Oh,
He's right there.
behind. I just got a couple of questions for Rick.
One second, just,
Sure.
is this a 24-hour operation, or is this when the store's open?
So typically, our stations are running 24/7. We do have the capability to shut them off if the store hours of operations, if that's what the town requests.
They do have automatic dimming though. Our law requires they have automatic dimming. Patience.
These are just geared for Stop and Shop, or what are they geared for?
No, so, we are partnering with the Stop and Shop, but this is an amenity for everyone in the parking lot. We try to locate them in front of the store that we're partnered with. That way the customers have a prime spot, but it doesn't stop anyone else from using it.
But you're just gearing up with Stop and Shop, right?
Oh, they are one of our large partners. We
Oh.
actually just partnered with Walgreens as well. So we are trying to deploy 500 stores across the country.
Yeah, there's a list here, Whole Foods, Saks.
Well, I guess my question, and maybe Rick can answer, if it's just geared up and it makes more sense at like a Stop and Shop or a ShopRite, why are we changing it for CC, COCS, LI, LIO, LO, and OP?
Yeah, we're really just in any commercial parking lot. Sorry if that question was.
No, I guess that's more of a Rick Picola question. Because to me, it only seems like it would make sense, like in a Stop and Shop or ShopRite. You're not going to put this at CVS because no one's going to really drive around looking for a parking spot when they're only going to be there for 5 minutes. So this would really only be geared towards like a Stop and Shop or ShopRite, because we don't have like a Nanuet Mall here, so.
CVS actually put in, within the last year.
Put in charging stations.
They just weren't,
The
they didn't
kiosks.
have this
I mean, to me, good for them, but it doesn't make sense to me because,
they get used.
well, when I'm going to the CVS, I'm there for 5 minutes. I'm not gonna see if I can get a charging station. And plus, I don't have an electric car.
You don't have an electric car, that's why you're not looking.
No, but like, to me, 5 minutes, But I guess, why so many zones encompassed?
That's a good question. Again, I was approached with just putting something out there for discussion.
Okay.
So I discussed it with Jane, and we thought about it, and it just seemed like for discussion, obviously not residential, so we took
Yeah.
off residential, and industrial and commercial is what we put in. But again, it's up to the town board. If you don't like that, you can narrow it down to whatever you want to, or you can choose not to vote for it at all.
No,
But again, it was put out there basically just for discussion.
All right, that's a fair answer. I would, if, I'd want it more tailored, I guess. Like, a lot of these zones,
Well, yeah, I mean, and again, maybe Jane can answer in terms of maybe a distinction between the CC, COCS.
Yeah, because that's the
Versus
problem.
LI,
It's like, this
LIO
could
and
be done,
LO.
and this could be done, and this could be done. They're
like,
figuring out some signs.
what zones encompass like a ShopRite? Where can you put that? What is it?
I'm going to
CS.
defer to Jane.
CS?
Right.
Yeah, so,
I guess the question, just to be more pointed, if LI, LIO, and LO are, for instance,
and OP,
well, OP has hotels, so they might, you're there overnight, you might have the charge,
Right.
and
Well, the thought
Advertising,
was, it's the technology, emerging technology, as the attorney stated, that this is coming full force. So where would it be appropriate moving forward? And we looked at all the zones, and, if you have something like a Pfizer campus, why wouldn't it be appropriate there? Why wouldn't it be appropriate at Blue Hill? As long as it's far enough off the property lines. Otherwise, I think moving forward, we'll be coming back to you to amend the code. I think a lot of commercial properties are going to want
I
to
think
be.
Pfizer can pay for their own stations, like if they want to do it. Like,
Right, but it's for the user, it's not necessarily for the corporation. They're providing a benefit to either their visitors or their employees, and we're seeing this all over the place. It's not just a request for Stop and Shop. So that's why, I looked at it, where would it be appropriate? and we have 70 feet from any property line, so it's not, would not be a distraction to drivers passing by. It would not be distraction to residential properties. But again, as Rick said, if you don't feel it's appropriate on those large commercial lots, then we can take them out
That's the
at this
most
time, and when they come and make an application, then we have to come back to you and say, this is what they want to do. So, right now, we didn't have it anywhere in our code, so we definitely need to address it. It's the emerging technology.
Right, and this isn't about the charging stations, it's about the advertising. The signs were not permitted, so,
Right.
you know.
No, I get it.
it's- No, I'm just saying, it's not, the changes to the sign code, if you're amenable, doesn't mean if you don't vote for this that they can't have charging stations. It's-
No, I get
It's a
that.
sign,
It's a
yeah.
sign. 9 square feet, 22 feet, 7 feet height. And how did we come up with the square footage for the signs? Was that from,
Examples that are out there for
Okay.
this technology. And Rick, I don't know, did you refer to any other municipalities for this? Any other codes? I'm not sure if you did or not.
For the EV charging, the multiple ones I looked at all had the 9 square feet. I did not find any examples for the gasoline station pump monitors. So the ones I've seen, and by the way, I think we have 2 in the town of Orangetown, and technically speaking, they're illegal signs. Again, as Rob was saying, the,
Like, in the gas
The-
station, you know, when you're in the gas station, you're pumping your gas, and there's a little,
Yeah,
just,
yeah, yeah.
you know, these things, it's not allowed in our code, so we're putting it now to cover it.
this started out as a Akabor application that was denied, not because of the charging aspect, but denied because of the monitor. And the monitor, because it had advertisements, was considered a digital sign, and digital signs are prohibited in Orangetown. So this change deals with that. And to answer your specific question, though, the 9 square feet is what seems to be out there in the other codes, the other jurisdictions. I made up the gas station one just because the gas station one seemed to be much smaller, and I forgot what I came up with. Is it, so that I just pulled out of thin air, but that seems to be about the size of the ones I've seen.
Recently in Florida, and they have them down there, and they're usually at a gas station, and it's advertising something inside the gas station. So it would only make sense to put it in a gas station going there. It's just a matter of, you know, why would you want it outside of Pfizer? Or, you know, for another place coming in, where people are coming in? That's I guess that's the question.
And
Is,
for the employees, you could charge them during the day.
no, I understand that.
There's advertising, if you look at this, there's who advertises with them. They say some of their advertising, you know, Jaguar, Hyundai, Netflix, who, you know.
Okay, so
Basically
you would
allow-
just sell advertising to,
Pay for the cost of the operation of the
You
charging.
normally have to pay to charge a car. This is free because the advertisers.
so we're gonna have free charging of cars in town.
Right, so the consumer is not
it's gonna
paying for the
subsidize.
use to
Right, no,
recharge.
I understand, but I'm saying, you know, where people are going and you're selling a product inside and you're advertising that product, is gonna be unlimited to the advertisement that's gonna go on that.
I think we have some people that will be complaining about this when you open up to the public, and I think that's one of the complaints is when you allow digital advertising, it does open it up, and the Supreme Court cases and the Court of Appeal cases say you cannot legislate content. So once we allow it, they can advertise whatever they want to, and in fact they have First Amendment rights then, and we cannot limit it. So that is one complaint about this type of local law.
So anything related to politics, guns, cannabis, none of that will be displayed on our screen. Our company is publicly traded, so we do steer away from that. If the town does make special requests and ask that certain content not be advertised, within reasonable grounds, we would honor that.
Right, no, I understand that, but
you're not the only company that would be
Right.
doing business in
and
this
you
town.
don't have to honor
But
it,
we
apparently.
can't legally.
I understand
No,
that.
we can't.
That's what I'm saying, so it,
Like,
you know,
I mean, we can't ask you
You'll get
to,
hit with a lawsuit, right?
we can't ask you to, what content, you know,
Right. That's correct. I will make one more addition to what Sam has said, and Volta does do community messaging on their signs, so they could also certainly accommodate, town board meeting tonight, March 8th, or community events, the parade, on the Stop and Shop charging, and they could do local businesses as well. So it's not limited to, Stop and Shop and Tesla and that sort of thing.
It's like the Rotary Board or the fire department.
Now, how do vendors come to you?
I know. they're
How
not coming.
does that get determined? They just come to you and pay a certain rate, and they can advertise on these bulletin boards?
Yeah, so we have, certain media sales team members on Volta who are, either they're cold calls or they have existing business relationships. Any local business can actually buy time on our screens. So if next to a Stop and Shop there is a small local store, they see that, these advertisements are working, people are looking at them, and kind of as a result buying things, then they can actually, on our website, reach us and just buy however much time they want on our screens individually.
You could.
Yeah, I know you could.
Do the
The
political
Wizards,
ads.
everybody can do it. It's free speech.
We would screen any political ads. We would screen anything that goes up on our screens. So
Oh, you're
they can-
out.
They can reach us. They can reach us, but we would make the final determination if we can do that.
High school kids can advertise parties on.
Okay. Does anybody else have any other questions?
We'll open up to the public.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so, Chris, sorry, if you want to come back up.
All right, good evening Supervisor Kenny and the rest of the town board. First, I'm going to share a letter from the members of ACBOR. Members of Architectural Community Appearance Review Board were recently notified of these changes to authorize the digital signage on electrical vehicle charging kiosks. The board reviewed these changes and discussed them at our February 3rd meeting. The board has concluded that this change would negatively impact the health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. One, the proposed changes significantly inhibit the oversight and control of the town and its respective boards to ensure the design and signage and advertisements meet the requirements of Chapter 31C, specifically 31C, 5C, and 6C, which cover character, context, design, etc., making the signs look at the architecture of the things around them. The nature of digital signage is, as we've heard, an advertisement is that the context is always changing and is delivered in real time. It's not possible to review that prior, and as we've heard, you can't review it once it's there. It also introduces an issue of enforcement, where it's not possible to constantly monitor what's on the digital signage in real time to it ensures that it follows existing code and proposed changes in this law. For example, is it changing every 8 seconds or every 15 seconds? Unless somebody's standing there, you're not going to know. Two, digital signage is inherently designed to change frequently, catch the attentions of passerbys, and distract people's attentions from their surroundings to the signage. This is especially true for video or motion-based content. The intentional distraction of digital signage poses a risk for accidents and injury in locations where you're going to have high vehicular traffic and pedestrian traffic at the same time, or a combination of the two. This is a negative impact to the health and safety of the community. And three, the benefits of the proposed changes are limited to the charging station owners and the advertisement networks, while the costs are spread to the whole Orangetown community. The law, as proposed, provides no benefit to the general welfare of the community. In fact, it has a negative impact as it increases the number of targeted advertisements shown to residents of Orangetown, driven by user tracking, profiling, and personal data. No part of the proposed change defines or implies any improvement or benefit to the general welfare of the Orangetown residents. The ACBOR recommends that the town board does not approve these changes as they are today. That's my thought on ACBOR, personal thought, not speaking for ACBOR at all. You guys asked some really good questions about the content of these signs, how the content gets there, what chooses the content. This is a technology that's been out there, and you can see how it's been used in other digital spaces in your lives, whether it's your cell phones, your computer, the internet. Providing a digital sign the way that can change this way allows an advertiser to do things that they could not do previously with a static sign that has to be thought through and approved. I would ask that before you make this change, you understand how that affects signage and what the impacts of that are, not for a single applicant, but for the whole industry, right? This is not something about an individual company or person. This is about what's going to come in 2, 3, 5 years down the road as this technology improves and you can't control it any longer. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else want to speak on it? Eileen? Oh, okay, okay. Well, I don't know if you want to give it to them, whatever. So you have 5 minutes, but
Yeah.
the clock is up
That's-
3.
Yeah,
so-
that's okay. Before the meeting started tonight, I had an opportunity to speak to Sam, okay? And he was answering a lot of the questions that I had, and he was very informative and very outcoming about what it's all about. What I drew from the conversation with him is that I have a gas-powered car. It's not going anywhere. It's going to carry me till I can no longer drive because I don't need a fob with it. I can find my keys in my pocket. But I think electric cars is the part of the future. So this is something new to Orangetown, and I think the charging stations, anybody who, I guess, at certain age limits, they're going to buy an electric car. So at this point in time, I think the town has to look at the code and look, too, at people who put charging stations on their properties. You know, I don't know if we have any code in the town that says it has to be a certain size. I have no idea. But this is something new that's coming, and 10 years from now, I guess most people will have an electric car. But what he showed me, I thought looked attractive. It's a digital, which I guess means it moves and moves around. But I don't think we should say no to the concept at this point. I think we should maybe look at it more intently. And the other thing is, I lost my train of thought. They say it's full. I said to him, nothing is free in this day and age. Somewhere along the way, somebody's paying for that usage. So my understanding, like say Stop and Shop will be billed for the amount of electricity that is recorded on that charging station. And Volta, let's say their annual or monthly O&R bill is $2,000, and now when they have the charging stations, it's $2,500. So that difference should not be passed on to the store, the people that are shopping there. It should be somehow or another billed in such a way, or they feel that they get they're able to pay that electric bill through their advertisements. I'm concerned about electric bills being charged back somehow or another to the average consumer here in Orangetown. The idea of charging stations, I'm sure, is a reality. But it's like the new kid on the street. We have to get to know the kid before we want to let him in the game to play with us. So I think rather than say no, we can listen to whatever Akabor's issues are. I think we're planning a new comp plan. I think part of the comp plan now should be charging stations, where they can be placed, what size, what type, especially on a homeowner's property. The regular Generacs make a lot of noise when they go on, and they have to be charged every month, every so often. They make a lot of noise. But I guess that's all I have to say. I have to say that Sam was very informative. If you have any questions, he's willing to, ask you. And he represents his company well. So anyway, that's my concern really is how this town creates within the zones, like you said, the OP, that's hotels, but it's also other type of OP units that we have in town. So it has to be carefully drawn up and looked at, because charging stations are they're coming down the pike. If you can get an electric car, and I'm thinking with the very high gas usage Traverse LTZ that's sitting out in the parking lot. But that's with my last car, I guess. But anyway, it was very nice to talk to him. Thank you.
1 second. Jane, I have a question for you. So when someone comes in for for one of these, I'm presuming, and maybe I should not be presuming, they're gonna have to go to the, do they have to go to the planning board if it's like a commercial business, or because it's allowed in here now, they don't have to go to planning board? Just for, I know that usually with like commercial properties, they always seem like they have to go to the planning board all the time.
Right, so if they change, if it affects the parking layout in any way, they have to go to planning board. The one at CVS they had to eliminate a parking spot to accommodate the stations, so that had to go to planning board, they had curb cut changes and things like that. This application actually did not affect the parking layout, so it only had to go to Akabor. So it goes to planning if it changes any configuration of the parking, but otherwise it would go to Akabor. But again, if the board sees fit to send all of them to planning board, that can certainly be done. That can be made part of the law. It was just the sign, there was no change to the parking layout. But again, if the board sees fit to send it,
I do, and so I'm trying to figure out, under this new law, would they still be going to Akabor?
they'd still be going to
They'd still be
Akabor.
going to Akabor. Okay, we're not gonna, you're gonna have to, you had your time, I'm sorry, I know, but we're not gonna start yelling out, because that's not gonna.
Right, it wasn't the signage itself, it was the change physically.
actual-
but-
okay.
Right.
What's the average time for a full charge? I know it's depending on the car, but
Yeah, so for an L2 chargers, which is what we're proposing in the Stop and Shop in Orangeburg, Orangetown, it would take about 4 hours for a full charge. And you have to understand that we're not intending for users to come, consumers to come and charge, sit there for 4 or 5 hours. The idea is that these chargers are placed in locations where people are already visiting, and when they go to a grocery store or a movie theater, they're going to want to pick the one with the charging station and get a top off.
so you're not worried about
Top
people
off.
just coming in to get a free charge, because obviously.
Right.
Wow.
They'd have to, unless they get dropped off and picked up, they have to sit there for 4 hours.
And also the benefit of someone having to sit there for a charge is that they're going to get bored. They're going to want to, go inside the stores, and that's one of the benefits for our site partners, and that's why we are able to deal with them.
Turn off to automatic turn off.
Yeah. So anyone who really does try to abuse the amount of time that they're charging, we will start to have idle time fees. This isn't the case currently, but we are looking into that.
Okay. A question for you. So who makes the money on the advertising? Stop and Shop or you guys?
It would be Volta.
Both of you?
But I will say...
It'd be Volta. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
It'd be Volta, but I have seen deals that we've made where the site host also does benefit from media revenue.
Right. Now, is Stop and Shop pay the electric bill, like Eileen was saying?
No, so Volta
guys do?
actually takes on
Okay.
the cost
Okay,
from
okay.
design, construction, maintenance, all of it, utility.
That makes sense. Got it. Right, and it's like people going in, like they said, it's a win-win, win-win.
So do the entities that get these charging stations, so they're making money off it, or they're just getting a break even?
It's hard to say. There are some agreements where we do pay rent to have our chargers on the station. There's no typical one-size-fits-all, agreement that we have, but either rent or utility payment or media sharing. So Stop and Shop will actually get dedicated time on our screens to have their advertising on our screens for free. So they're benefiting, even though it might not be, cash coming in necessarily.
Right, but to Eileen's concern, it's not costing them on the electric bill because you guys are picking it up.
That's correct.
Okay, anybody else have any questions? Otherwise, I'm gonna,
I thought,
I know, next up, Mike.
Sharon.
Okay, sorry, thank you.
Good evening, members of the board, Supervisor County, Mike Mandel, Pearl River. Just a couple of comments. One is the signs at the gas stations. If we put them on the pumps, a lot of those pumps are very close to the roadway. Will those signs affect the drivers going by? Will it distract them? Whereas the electric charges are well on the property, and they're not really seen from the roadway. I think it's something that should be thought of. Because as Councilman Batari said, down in Florida, you do have, on the highways going down, there's a lot of gas stations that do have advertisement on their pumps, but their pumps are not facing the roadway. They're more slanted as something that I think it should be looked at as far as,
Well, we have 70 feet from the public right-of-way
Right.
or property line right now.
okay, that'll affect the gas stations too?
The charging stations, a minimum
I
setback.
think Mike's talking about the
gas
gas
station.
station, like across the
Yeah, the
street.
gas
No,
pumps.
that was like,
Yeah, many of which are very close to the roadway. That was just a comment that we should look at. Number two, they talked about not censoring the advertisement. I can see when it comes to, guns, is in Remington, a Colt, it's generic, it covers all guns. Same thing with alcohol, marijuana, or other drugs, it's cocaine, we don't have brand names of it or whatever else. However, when it comes to political advertising, it should be all political advertising or no political advertising. We can't permit people to censor, as we've seen done in current times, and that would, I think that would cause a problem. If the political party is some crazy people that are asking for the overthrow of the United States and Ukraine at the same time, I could see that being, but that's not a political party, so I think when it comes to political speech, it should be everybody has a right to advertise or nobody has the right. It should be generic in nature. And if that can't be guaranteed, I think that's something that we definitely should be thinking about. Thank you for your time.
thank you. Okay, Sharon?
You don't get involved in that, though, right?
Members of the board, Teresa Kenny, Supervisor Kenny. I'm both a member of Akabor as well as a homeowner in the area, as well as a mom and a parent. So I've got some things to say, I guess, basically on a few different fronts. Number one, it's not with electric charging vehicle at all. I think that's great. That's come before Akabor. We've worked with the individual applications, making sure that maybe they had some landscaping around it, doing some things, but 100% behind electric vehicles and stuff. I would say that the issue here is that now you're taking something and saying that you're providing a service, a free service to the community to promote electrical cars and stuff like that. But at the bottom line, it's an advertising platform. Bolt is going to be making money on it. It's, like you said, it's a publicly traded company that's a for-profit company. So the bottom line is they're going to be taking in a lot of advertising revenue, for profit. And now we are going to be subject to these big, large digital displays that are all advertising, basically. And now we're approving right now, too, for Stop and Shop. But if you go and you look up Volta, they've gotten a partnership with Walgreens, which can also become CVS. They've got a partnership, I believe, with Target. I've seen Volta in front of Kohl's. So now we're not talking about just in front of Stop and Shop, just in front of ShopRite. We're talking in all of our commercial parking lots that we're going to see. Now, the mom part of me says that, all right, when I bring my kids, now I've got another digital screen that's in front of them that, they're going to see. And the advertising, it just is going on and on. So anyway, I think there's a bunch of different levels here, but I think we have to realize that while, yes, they're giving away free electricity, and I'm not even sure how much it really costs to charge a car anyway, but is that money that you're supposedly giving offsetting the amount of revenue advertising dollars that's actually going to Volta? So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good.
Good evening, members of the board. I'm Brian Aitchison. I'm also on the ACRA board. Been on the ACRA board for quite a few years. And when this came before us, and we had already dealt with several charging proposals, which we had worked with, I think actually I was the first one to look at this and say that, obviously I'm totally in favor of electric, and I know we have to be there. but this was just another advertising venue being added to a commercial area that had nothing to do with the immediate vicinity that it was in. It was completely, and it was just more advertising. We're trying to get advertising under control in this town that's been out of control, and to have it benefit visually the area. We're not trying, and this is something that's unrelated to the immediate premises. It's merely a function of a company looking to make money, putting advertising in another area. And personally, for me, I didn't see a benefit to adding yet another electronic advertising element to somewhere that there's never been one. Let's just add more advertising somewhere else. And that was really what a big objection I had to it. The fact that, of course, there's no control over it, and it does change, even though it's static for a period. I think we asked, it maybe changes every 10 minutes or 5 minutes, or so. That's where I stood, and I think that was the feeling of all of the members of the board.
You know, funny, when I go into ShopRite sometimes, I have my little wagon and I have a realtor's face right in front of me. Then I go and there's a bench with the realtor's face on the bench. So I don't know what the difference is, if it's advertising at a supermarket for a realtor or for something on a screen. I'm not quite following the logic there, but that's neither here nor there. Jane, I do have one other question for you. So right now, if someone was to come in, we approve this law, someone was to come in, do they go to Akabor because it's a sign?
They would go to Akabor.
They'd still go to Akabor?
That is correct.
And so Akabor could say, we want screening around it, or face it a different direction, or?
That's correct, and I also want to bring attention to the fact, letter A, that only 2 of these are allowed. Doesn't matter if you have 1,000 parking spots or 100 parking spots, only 2 are allowed per site. Yes, 2 with the,
Well, if you do it without the advertising, you can do more
yes,
than 2.
you can do more, but if you look at,
Right.
yeah, if you look at page 4 of tonight's agenda, it's under 31C-8A. So we did limit it.
So there's 2 stations
That can have this display.
the other 2 stations that we don't have advertising, I think you have to pay for that?
Well, that's up to however they set it up. We have nothing to do if they, right.
So, but if you have 4 stations, 2 of them have advertising, 2 of them don't, do you have to pay for the charge on the ones that we don't have advertising?
Right, so currently the only station where we would have non-media, advertised at non-media chargers is the DC Fast and Faster chargers. And we would have a charge to get the faster charger. But if
Well,
we
they're
would
worth
not-
it because they're fast.
Yeah, but we would not put stations in L2 without advertising, because at that point we would be losing money to sell it.
Right, so it's the idea that the two stations in with advertising bring, electrical car owner to come in and say, all right, it's gonna take me 4 hours to
Are they
charge
looking to do
this,
2?
but
Yeah.
if I pay $30, I'm gonna get a charge within a half hour, so that's, is that kind of a way to get people?
They're looking to do 2?
No?
Can I ask you a question? Are you looking to do 2 at the Stop and Shop, or just 1? You're doing 2.
I do want to make sure for transparency that I state that our kiosks are double-sided. So there is a screen on each side.
Okay. Okay. Debbie, you want to come up?
Good evening, everyone. Nice to be back. I just want to be clear. All the years that I've served on Akabor, I don't remember once having to come before the board for any other concerns that have come before us. And I don't remember ever the board coming out for something like this in unison to present and to you. So I think we feel really strongly about this. This is not about, to us, a charging station. We're in favor of the charging stations. We've worked with everybody that's come before us to make sure that they are, it's Akabor. So it fits the area, it looks good, everybody's pleased, we all walk away happy. This is a little bit different. This is about advertising. And I want to say this, the board struggles. This is one of our biggest obstacles that we have as a board. We bend over backwards, we beat each other up about signage. It's all about signage here. So the sign has to be right. It has to send the right message. It has to look a certain way. I believe that this entity, we lose control over the narrative. That's how, we don't know who's going to monitor this, who's going to go out and patrol it, who's going to see that what's on there, what's coming forward. It's kind of like your phone. You know, you say something, you're talking to a friend, 10 minutes you walk back, and your phone is bringing up all kinds of things. Do we really understand who and what's going to be on there and who's going to go out and control it? The board, the company, ACABOR, you know, inspectors. I think we lose control, and I think that's a big factor for us. I'm not really as concerned about the free this and the free that. Nothing is free. Let's face it, somebody's profiting, and nothing is for free. So what do we stand to lose versus what are we gaining? That's my question. That's what I think we really have to ask ourselves. Once again, this has nothing to do with our opposition to the charging stations, but in fact, what they are bringing with them. And whether or not they're close to the road or behind over there, it's still, once again, we're opening up a venue. We're opening up a floodgate to this being in every shopping center everywhere. And who's going to go around and patrol it? That's the question I have. Okay, thank you for your time.
Okay, does anybody else want to speak that hasn't had a chance to speak? Yep.
Are there any requirements for a company that wanted to put in a charging station and an advertisement display? Any licensing requirements? Anyone can actually do it? Tom Divney could put in a free charger and just put any content he wanted on his property that falls into one of these zones? Like I could just, you know, do what like, there are people that would do that, that have the money to do it. You know, as long as you put in a free charging station, do you get to put up a monitor on a property that falls within one of those zones? Is there any disqualification like that?
Well, the regular, I'm
Hey,
sure.
Rick Bacola?
As long as it's in that zone, Tom Divney can work out a deal with that property owner and say, I'll give you free charging if you let me put up a display.
And,
I could
Yes.
put any content I
no,
want,
well, the
Well,
normal,
content, yeah.
the normal content rules, you can't be
but it's freedom of speech.
pornographic, you can't, right, but
But,
freedom
I
of
mean,
speech has limitations.
That it
So,
has
same
limitations, but what's protected out there is a lot more than some people would like. That's the point.
I'm sorry, Tom, I heard some of what you were
I'm just
asking,
saying,
but-
is there any, if I wanted to, and I worked out a deal, I could put a charging station, and then I could put a display up, right? No, there's no,
If this is, well,
in one of the properties that we agreed would be eligible to have these charging stations, I could do that.
yes,
Okay.
if this is passed.
I just
And
wanted to ask,
anything you could put up there,
you know,
limited by the
freedom of
Constitution.
speech, you know, what's considered, but Teresa and I did the signage, and what's allowed under, what we found under the signage law, what is offensive to one is still protected free
Yeah,
speech.
And I happen to agree with that.
No, I agree. No, I agree, but what I'm saying is it's just another venue, you know, we open up this Pandora's box, we're the ones that are gonna be hearing about it in the future, and just, it's something to consider.
I think that's.
And I agree, you know, with some of the speakers. You know, just because you link charging station with advertising, they're saying it's about charging. No, it's about advertising.
No one's hiding that. I don't,
No,
you know,
I
I don't know
mean-
why all of a sudden advertising is some evil word.
It's just something,
Coming, you know.
you know, but we have to change it. It's up to us. To me, I don't know if I want to make that change or not.
So is it a matter of, because I'm curious, is it a matter of change, not all the zones, change the size, or it's just, because this technology is going to be coming.
No, but like, I mean,
I mean, I checked out the website, I checked out plenty of photos.
no, I get it. I guess you near distant future, you see all these movies like Blade Runner or whatever, where there's just digital ads all over, you know, like, you've seen the movies where there's digital ads all over the place. You walk through the mall, there's a digital ad. It's constant digital media, social media in your face. The question is, do I want to be part of a board that takes that leap or not? I don't know. You know, it is what it is, you know. No, I don't think we should vote for tonight.
Okay, so you want to keep the public hearing open?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to keep it open. 'cause
No, I would definitely like to keep it open.
I would just recommend everybody, you got a package from Rob, you check it out, because it's pretty detailed.
Do you
And I
want
think
to-
They sent them all to send to us.
My suggestion would be to continue it to announce the date of the meeting tonight. If it's the next one, or you want to put it off for a month from now, whatever.
No, because we have next month, next meeting, we have Gatto Lane, so we don't want to be.
No, maybe like a, you know what, let's, a date to be determined, because maybe Paul would want to weigh in on this.
Well, you got to re-advertise. You can put it on for the 12th, April 12th as a
Yeah, put it on for that, and then we can always,
Yeah.
continue, yeah. So
No, I mean,
my suggestion would be, based upon what everybody said, is continue it till the public hearing till April 12th.
April 12th, yep.
Then on April 12th, you can address it, either continue it or hear it. Right.
That sounds good.
I'll do a motion on it.
yeah. So I'm going to get a motion to
Continue the public
hearing
hearing.
to April 12th. Okay, Jerry moved, Brian seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Okay, so then I guess we can go
To
to,
the regular town board meeting.
oh, here, we gotta get out of. Okay, so, I'm going to
Number 7?
number 7. Okay, can I get a motion to reappoint Charles Vizzetti to a chairman of the Orangetown Sanitation Commission?
Moved.
Tom Divany moves, second. Brian Donahue, all in favor?
All right.
Okay, reappoint Bill Beckman to a member of the Orangetown Sanitation Commission for a 5-year term, motion?
Second.
Okay, you got that, Jerry? 1, 2, all in favor?
Aye.
Reappoint Irene McCarthy to a member of the Orangetown Board of Assessment and Review for a 5-year term, motion?
I'll make a motion.
Brian Donahue moved, second.
Moved.
Tom
Second.
Divany, all in favor?
Aye.
Reappoint Mike Mandel to a member of the Orangetown Board of Ethics for a 5-year term.
Moved. Second.
Jerry moved, Tom second, all in favor?
Aye.
Reappoint Mike Mandel to, Chairman of the Orangetown Board of Ethics for a 1-year term.
Moved.
Tom Divany moved, second. Jerry Batari, all in favor?
Aye.
Reappoint Thomas Highland as a member of the Orangetown Board of Ethics for a 4-year term. Motion?
I'll make a motion.
Brian Donahue, second. Jerry Batari, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Reappoint Beth Cahill to member of the Orangetown Board of Ethics for a 3-year term.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Jerry and then Tom.
Next time will be Tom and Jerry.
Reappoint Orangetown Shade Tree Commission for a 1-year term. Jerry moved, second.
I'll second it.
Brian Donahue, all in favor?
Aye.
Authorize the purchase of the Village of South Nyack equipment listed down there at a price of $83,000.
Yep.
Tom Divany, move, second.
Second.
Brian Donahue, all in favor?
Aye.
Approve the proposal from Nelson and Pope to do engineering and architecture work for their drainage system and water supply for the splash pad at Veterans Park.
You should move that to receive and order.
I will move it.
Go ahead.
Second.
Yep. I'll second.
Brian Donahue, all in favor?
Aye.
You know, we're gonna break that in when it goes in. We're gonna have to put on our bathing suits and go in.
Jerry's been shopping for some Speedos, I heard.
Okay, authorize a retainer agreement with Keenan Bean
Yes.
through December 31st.
I will make that motion.
Tom Divany moves, second. Jerry Batari, all in favor?
Aye.
Authorize retainer agreement for Keenan Bean with regard to the representation in Rockland cider works against the town of Orangetown. Motion.
Moved.
Tom Divany, second. Jerry Batari, all in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the 2022 certificates of sewer registrations. Motion. Jerry Batari, second.
Second.
Tom Divany, all in favor?
Aye.
Accept assignment assumption of the contract for South Nyack Community Choice Aggregation with Jewel Constellation. Motion.
Yep.
Tom Divany, second.
I'll second that.
Brian Donahue, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion to appoint Max Park, temporary police officer resident, town of Orangetown. Jerry Batari, second.
I'll second.
Brian Donahue, all in favor? approve grant permission for highway school for June 6th to the 8th. Motion?
Moved.
Tom Divany, second.
I'll second.
Brian Donahue, all in favor? Aye. Approve 2022 Highway Department open house for Saturday, May 14th, 2022.
Moved.
I'll second.
My kids have
Brian
aged
Donahue.
out of that.
I'm sure, it's when they love it, when they're kids. Okay, so you got Brian seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Approve lend assistance to the American Cancer Society Relay for Life on June 11th.
Second.
I said January, I'm losing my mind. Okay, you got, somebody moved in. Yeah. All in favor? Approve lend assistance to the 2022 commemoration of the 80th anniversary of the Town Death March on Saturday, April 9th.
Moved.
Tom Divany, second.
I'll second.
Brian Donahue, all in favor?
Aye.
Approve lend assistance to the 2022 St. Patrick's Day Parade on Sunday, March 20th, 2022. I move it.
I move.
Brian jumped right in there to second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Kenny and Donahue did it.
Yeah.
Award the bid for the HVAC service to Joe Lombardo Plumbing and Heating.
Moved.
Tom Divany. Jerry Vitale, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, accept, receive, file documents in the town clerk's office. Says
Moved.
Tom Divany, second.
I'll second it.
Brian Donahue, all in favor? On the audit,
See what we got
Yeah.
tonight there,
let's
Jeffy.
see, we're gonna keep track of how many Tom gets right. Now he knows, though. That's the problem.
Oh, let's see.
Okay, the audit for tonight's meeting consists of 5 warrants for $2.1 million. First warrant had 7 vouchers for $167,000. Items of interest, number 1, Collier's Engineering and Design, $43,000 for traffic signal design and construction. Number 2, Commissioner of Finance, $36,000 for the 2021 RCPA school for the police. Number 3, Verdi Electric, $85,000 for the construction of 9 traffic signals, and that's bonded. And the second warrant had 50 vouchers for $376,000. Items of interest, number 4, NIPA, $21,000 for the streetlight contract. Number 5, the Village of South Nyack, $228,000 for various equipment. The third warrant had 26 vouchers for $830,000. Items of interest, number 6, MetLife, $14,000 for police dental benefits. Number 7, Department of Civil Service, $800,000 for health care benefits. The fourth warrant had 1 voucher for $83,000, which was a purchase of equipment from South Nyack that you just approved. The fifth warrant had 195 vouchers for $675,000. Items of interest, number 8 and 9, the applied golf contracts. Number 10, Atlantic Salt, $36,000 for highway salt purchases. Number 13, CSEA Employee Benefit Fund, $32,000 for dental benefits. Number 15, Global Montello, $50,000 for fuel. Number 21, Morano Brothers, $55,000 for the North Middletown Road pedestrian link project. And number 22, Precision Safe Sidewalks, $36,000 for sidewalk saw cutting. Any questions on the audit?
No questions? Motion to accept the audit?
Moved.
Tom Divany, second.
Second.
Jerry
Going into
Vitale,
executive session?
all in favor, yes. Okay, so we are going to executive session. We will not be coming out to vote on anything. Eamon Riley, we need you. Personnel matters. What's that?
Related to the employment.
Related to employment? Yeah, personnel matters.
They like to say employment, statute says employment.
Employment, okay, employment. Okay, and then Jeff, we have something, right? I think that's it. Okay, well, Jeff's making it. Okay, so can I get a motion to go into executive session?
I'll move. I'll second. Third. Fourth. Aye.
I don't know who said what. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We have,